Alright guys, how you doing today? What do I do with my bong? Ah. Alright, welcome everybody. Today we're doing a little special stream here. So today we'll be building a computer for that one alt mom. I'm going to be doing it pretty quickly here, so I'll try to be thorough and teach you guys at the same time. The first thing you're going to want to do is prep your motherboard prior to installing it. You could put all your stuff inside your motherboard when you're done, but you probably don't want to be doing that at all because you're going to be working in a confined area at that spot. So this motherboard's pretty basic and straightforward. There's no hard drive slots for NVMe drives. Instead, it gives you a DIMM2 slot, which goes right here in the PCI Express, and your hard drive goes inside there. So if you look, you got socket 1 or socket 3 right there, and socket 2. So we're going to be going onto this side, and we're just going to be putting our hard drive directly into it. This is a Western Digital Blue NVMe, and it is a 500 gig. You just slide it in, and that's literally it. That's done. You can put a standoff there, which is what I'll probably eventually end up doing before I ship it out to her. And then that's going to go in directly right here, and I'll put that in later. But if I put stuff in right there, it'll be blocking your guys' view of what I'm doing. The next thing that's not going to block your view will be the processor. So here's your processor. We have an Intel iCore 7 7700K. Pretty good processor. Now, when you're installing a processor on your motherboard and on your processor, it's very important to notice where you're putting it. If you see your processor, all 4 corners look identical, except for that one. It has a gold dot on it. That gold dot is very, very, very important. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard. There's a gold dot that corresponds with that on my motherboard. Or not a gold dot, but just a dot. You can see it on this corner right here. So your processor is going to be lined up with that, and that's how you're going to install it. Now, with the computer, if it's not fitting, that means you're doing something wrong. You do not ever want to force things here. So you drop it in. There's slots here. Goes this way. This slides underneath the standoff screw and pushes down and locks underneath itself. Now you have your processor latched in and completely secure. Now that the processor's done, I'm going to install the RAM. Sometimes there's 2 slots and sometimes there's 4. When there's 4 slots, it's very important to notice which ones are compatible and which ones you're going to want to be doing. It's alright. She doesn't have to be here if she doesn't want to, but I'm doing this for fun. So you install your RAM. If you notice you have 2 offsets right here, your offset pegs, and you see how they're kicked out, that's because your RAM isn't locked all the way in yet. You want to make sure your RAM, you hear a click there and a click there, and you saw that piece moved in by itself without me even pushing it in. That's exactly what you want to happen. So we're going to do that with the other stick of RAM now too. There you go, both clicks. Now, when I've installed computers, that has been the biggest problem I've had with most of them, is that the RAM is not seated correctly. If your RAM is not seated correctly, your computer will not boot up. So with this, I kind of want to fix that with the standoff right now. So let's see what we have to work with. This is like my little bag of goodies here. All the builds I've done throughout the years. This is the most predominant stuff that you would use for like standoffs and things like that. So there's a couple of things that might work. That's one of them. Let's see if it's the right thread or not. And that'll determine if we're using this. No, the thread is incorrect. I need to organize this probably a little bit better. Here we go. This probably looks like the right thread. No, same thread. We're trying to get a skinny one that goes inside here, guys. This looks like it's it right here. So we're trying to thread into one of these. Yeah, that's too big still. So when this slides in, it has something to catch to and screw into. Otherwise, your hard drive is just going to be flopping in the wind, which is obviously not good. Now, this is a standoff for the hard drive. So this is exactly what we want. We're going to be putting it in there and seeing it's going to go here. Okay, too big, again. It looks like I might not have a screw for this. Let's see. Yeah, I might not have one. This is a very, very small thread. Let's see. It does not appear. Oh, you know what? I think I have a glass repair kit somewhere here, actually. If I'm not mistaken, I have microscopic screws, and I'm well organized. Let's see. Yeah, look at these. See? Pays to be prepared a little bit, right? And old, I guess, at the same time. Now, okay, last time I opened this thing, I opened it upside down. So if you can imagine what a fucking nightmare that was. There's like a million screws in here. It took 2 hours to just fucking organize it again. I got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I'm just throwing you all back in. Like, I'm glad I didn't, but I sure as hell wanted to. Let's see here. Now, I bet you these are too small. Yep. My thickest one is too small by quite a bit. Perfect. Alright. So all that means is I have to get eventually just get a different screw to throw inside the hard drive one. It'll still work and everything, but I don't like leaving loose stuff, obviously. I feel like the computer should have came with that, but oh well. So we're going to take this, stick it on, and same thing, you're going to want to hear both those clicks on your DIMM. So, and usually on a computer, everything only fits where it goes. It's actually pretty nice like that. You know, like your graphics cards will end up going right here if you want multiple. They kind of killed doing SLI, which is multiple graphics cards, though. So there's a lot of glitches and bugs that are involved with it now, so it's not really beneficial at this point. Alright, so I'm going to bring the case up here next, and I'm going to be installing the motherboard into the case. This is for the liquid cooler, and that'll be going in too, but again, after. So I'm going to adjust a little bit for the case. I'm going to move the motherboard off onto the bed, because that's sanitary as fuck, so why not? Yeah, probably end up doing laundry after this. Tools can stay up. This we move over here. So for the case, we got a Fractal Republic of Gamers. Pretty nice case, actually. Sorry if it's a little bit messy. I got it from my brother. I cleaned it up a little bit. Let's see here. Let's fix this now. Hey, Alt-Mom, how you doing? What are you making us to eat tonight? Let me see. I'm trying to get that higher. I don't know how I can. Okay, so at this point, you're going to be very careful. I can tilt this up a little bit so you can see inside. Your motherboard has what's called standoffs. Right here, 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 and here. And you're going to want to line those up and make sure that nothing is set too hard on your motherboard and that you're actually putting it in the right location and holes. Like I said, it's very important to take your time with the computer. Never force anything, and just make sure everything fits correctly. If you have to force something, you are doing it wrong. Now, This is a mistake a lot of people make on a computer, and it's very, very easy. This back plate right here, you would think goes in the back of your computer, which it does. You know, don't get me wrong, that's exactly where it goes. But, and a big but here, because it's a huge mistake to make, you need to look at your motherboard, how it's configured. So it's like this, sorry. And you want this, just like that, right? You actually have to put it in here first, like this, and come from the back. The front plate is what holds it in, so you put this in prior to putting the motherboard in. Otherwise, you have to pull your whole entire computer apart when you're done putting it together, because this does not go in from any other way but right here, and once your motherboard's in, you can't put this back in. Yeah, ask me how I know. See, that's one fun thing about building computers, is you get to learn all the shit not to do first. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, like last night, that was a nightmare. That was like, I think 12 to 16 hours building those two computers. And it wasn't because I did anything wrong. It was because the guy didn't have proper parts at his house. And I had to like go to Fry's, go to fucking Best Buy, go here, go there. I had to go actually twice to the store. He didn't have something once, and then he didn't have another thing later. But that's probably my fault for not seeing that. Huh. It's not lining up with the holes or the pegs like I was saying. It seems like it's in a bad location for some reason. Let's see. Ah, there we go. All the holes for the motherboard need to line up pretty good, otherwise you're not going to be able to get it. And she's going to have issues plugging in her USBs, but I mean, like, fuck her, right? That's a her problem when she gets it. So I'm seating everything in, and I'm going to be putting the screws inside the motherboard, and obviously seating everything in correctly. Let's see here. Now it seems like this is not going in correctly with the faceplate, so I might have to actually just take it out. Okay. Huh, there he goes. Fit in perfectly. But it didn't seem like that was the issue, so let's try if we can get the faceplate in. For some reason, when I put the faceplate on it, it didn't want to go in there and seat incorrectly. And then when I took it off, it sat in perfect. So I'm not really sure why it did that. See, because that thing snaps in perfect. And then now it seems like it's sticking out a little too much. Now, why is that? What'd you do to my computer, AltMom? You're breaking it. So right now I'm working on this, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. This faceplate right here, for some reason, is not sitting flush in here. There we go. That's all it was. I wasn't pushing hard, because like I said, you don't really want to force stuff, but sometimes you have to. So all it was that wasn't pushed all the way out, so the motherboard wasn't sitting into where it was supposed to sit. Now that I did that, this should just drop right in like nothing. Like butter. Let's see here. Yep, fit right in. No moving, no hassle, nothing. All the screws lined up. You now have a nice back plate. All your HDMIs and USBs and everything. Perfect. Now I'm getting my motherboard screws, which are right here. And I'll be setting them inside and securing the motherboard in place. That is the next step to be building a computer. A word of advice, all of your tools, you should not be using magnetic tipped anything on a computer. It's kind of a pain in the ass because all your stuff, obviously you would love to use it, because like right now, if I'm not careful, I'll be dropping screws inside places where I'm not easily able to get them out of. So, and then when you're doing any kind of work like this, I don't know how familiar you guys are, cars, computers, anything. You notice how I put one screw in right now. I know you can't see very well. I have no way of getting the thing higher, but you don't want to tighten it down all the way. You kind of want to tighten it down a couple threads and stop. The reason is it can shift while you're doing that, and you want to make sure you get all the screws in your motherboard first, and then give it a final tighten. When you're doing this too, you want to never over tighten anything on a computer. Like if you're loose, you just want to go kind of slow and light if you're not sure. There we go. That one's in. 3 more left, guys. Well, 4, counting this one. The hardest part about doing a computer, I think, is just hooking up the front panel. And again, there's nothing really hard about any of this. It's just knowing where to plug things in. Stuff only fits where it's supposed to fit. By the way, I have a friend coming over right now, I believe, from San Diego. I know I just went there yesterday. But he has about 15 or 16 graphics cards. And I might be working out a deal with him to get one of those off of him. So your thing might be shipped done. Let's see. One more screw, and then the motherboard's in. Okay. Now all I'm doing now is going through and tightening each one down one final turn, like I was telling you earlier. You don't want to tighten all of them down. So now that they are all in there and I had no issues, now I'm going through and giving it a final turn. And with a motherboard, you kind of want to just go a little bit hand tight. You don't want to go over that. It's not like anyone's going to be on here yanking on this thing. There's not going to be very much vibration on it, none of that kind of stuff. There. So now the motherboard's installed. I'll show you guys what this looks like. Just so you guys know, the only thing I kind of cheated and did prior to the stream was, I'll go over that right now with you too so you can kind of see, is I installed this, which is a CPU cooler, a liquid cooler, and I'm going to do that one last because it's going to be right there, and I don't want it to be in the way of the graphics card and whatever wiring I'm doing. So I installed that, and I installed 2 case fans. Case fans get put in with 4 screws only, so I figure you can figure out how to install a case fan. And I just wanted to get to like the meat of everything for you guys. All of this stuff is called your case, like, initial wire set. This is the only part, in my opinion, that's like semi-hard to do. But again, everything plugs in where it's supposed to, except for your panel display. And I'll go over that in a second. To me, that's the hardest thing, like I was just telling you about. Right now that you have this in, you want to focus on your hardware, because your hardware can't be moved, and you don't want to route things to where hardware goes. Makes sense, right? I'm going to plug this in now so it stops flopping around. It's not going to go there permanently, but it's not going to move. So the next piece of hardware that I'm going to be putting inside here is the power supply. It goes in the bottom, so instead of having it flop around on vital pieces of fucking hardware, I'm going to do that. Get it where it sits. Let me wipe this down a little bit. I'm going to clean that up for her. Sorry, the people that had this were a slob. I've been cleaning it, like, parts and stuff all day. I've been cleaning stuff all day, and I'm trying to get everything good for you. This guy fucking loved cats. Or has a lot of cats, so... Well, 2, but... I definitely want to not give you something nasty. And me and my roommate were talking about that today, like people with animals. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I love animals, don't get me wrong. But they fuck your house up, you know, like everything you own. 98 GTX is the last video card you installed. Oh my god. That is a long ass time, dude. Holy shit. Ancient graphics card. Let me pull up this. Sorry. Okay. So the power supply is going to go there. We have it set aside right here. We're going to put it in. For this, we're using a Thermaltake 850, which should be able to handle anything up to like a 3080 or higher. So the power supply goes right here. Okay. And then you screw it in with the 4 proprietary screws, which we get from right here. I'm going to use thumb screws because I have a lot of them. Normally you'd use Phillips head, but I like using these because she'll be able to pull them out without any tools. I can probably change everything on the outside of her case to these. Also, if stuff doesn't work or anything breaks or anything like that, like I said, it's just a lot easier to fix, take things apart, troubleshoot, test, all of that. Two more. Wrong one, right one. There we go. I have like 5 different thread types. Whew. Alrighty. Power supply is installed. It's that fucking easy. We're going to lay it back down now. The power supply won't flop around. It's kind of frustrating that it's that close, though. Let's see here. So we have... I probably should have looked at that first, huh? The order of the firing stuff. So I'm looking at these right here, and this will tell you where to plug everything into your computer at. So I need 2. There's that and that. I should probably just take it out and look better. I'm trying to get 2 CPU powers and 1 power supply. I mean, 1 motherboard power connection. So I'm looking for what these are all labeled as right here. And we have... So this takes 2 power pins. Let me see something. I think I have another motherboard that might be... God damn it. Alright. So we're switching everything. We're taking the motherboard out. Basically what happened is I have 2 motherboards that he gave me. The power supply only has 1 proprietary slot for, what's it called, for power source. This one takes 2. So we can easily just pull everything out. We don't need to take the processor out because this goes with this motherboard, and the other one that she's getting now is an AMD Ryzen 1700X, which is better anyways. So there you go, upgrade. You love puzzles too? I like doing puzzles. My mom does those all the time. You're getting a huge upgrade right now, actually, to be honest. The motherboard that I'm now putting in here is a lot better, and so is the processor. Like a 7700K is don't get me wrong, it's still a really good processor. They sell for about $300, and they're, I believe, 6 or 8 core. They're 8 core. Any game right now they handle. You envy him? Why? For doing that with his for. Oh yeah, you and your wife doing puzzles together. Dude, it's just so hard to get a partner to do fucking anything with you nowadays. With their loose ass caves. Don't kill me. Right? That's all I want is someone like a partnership like that. Like no one wants that shit anymore. Everyone's toxic. Ah, whatever. I'll get that when I pull the motherboard out. Okay, so this motherboard is not the one. Now I'll grab my 2 screws I dropped. 1. The other one must be, there it is, 2. At least it's really fast. Like this doesn't take very long, so that's always good, right? I've done it so many times now. It's like taking apart and putting together computers only takes 40 minutes at the most. Yeah, this is a way nicer board. Asus Republic of Gamers AMD 70 something X, so it's like the 7th generation. Yeah, that went right in. Here's that. Now I'm doing exactly what I said not to do earlier, guys, and that's install your motherboard first without prepping it, because I'm dumb. But hey, this is a pretty big case, so I'm not really worried about the room. Most of the time when I was just like saying not to do that, yeah, we can play some Counter-Strike. That'd be fun as fuck. But most of the time you don't want to actually install this first. Like I said, you want to put your RAM and at least your processor in and get all that situated, especially when you have a mini ATX case. But this is kind of a bigger, nice mid case, so there's a decent amount of room to work in here, and I'm pretty confident I can get that stuff in without any issues. If not, I'll just throw it in the fucking wall in a fit of rage. Yeah, one of those things. Hello, violent. Yeah, see, violent gentleman. That's what it says on my mirror. I didn't actually get that. That was there when I moved in. Guy's a fucking weirdo. Two more screws, and we're going to tighten everything down, like I said. There's one. It makes it really hard that you can't use magnetic tools, believe it or not. Like a real pain in the fucking ass. Okay, so there we go. Motherboard's already installed. No cords underneath. Nope, we're good. Next, we're putting the RAM back in here. If I'm looking at these slots correctly, it's going to be the top two, A1 and A2. It's very important that you look at how RAM is labeled when you're putting it in your computer. There's going to be A1 and A2 and B1 and B2, and sometimes they're not in order. Sometimes the A1 will be the first one and the A2 will be the third one. In this case, it's 1 and 2A are in the same slot. Since you only have 2 sticks of RAM, you use both of them on the A slots. You can upgrade, but you have 32 gigs of RAM, which is a lot. Now this one has a built-in NVMe drive holding spot, so I don't need to use this card adapter anymore. So I put that back here, and then I could just take your NVMe drive, and it goes directly in here. If I remember, I didn't really like this one though, because it just sticks in there like that, and then you're supposed to screw it down with a screw. But these were the ones we were not being able to find earlier, I think. And I don't really like having stuff not secure. So we'll put the hard drive in last. Oh, there's one more screw I'm seeing that I need to put in the motherboard. That's right here. Okay, motherboard's installed now. So everything's in the motherboard minus the processor. And same thing with the processor. All we're going to be doing is lining up the processor to where it goes inside that hole. I need to go grab it, actually. It's right here. At least it's very close. There we go. So I got the processor in hand now. Now, when you're doing processors, especially like older, newer ones, you always want to make sure you clean them very, very well. I had something up here for that. Now, where the fuck did I put it? You want to use isopropyl alcohol. So, like, I don't know where the fuck I put it. I had a bottle of 92%, and I remember thinking, like, that shouldn't be on my bed. And then I moved it. Huh. Oh, well, there's enough residual alcohol in this to clean it. So I cleaned all the thermal paste off this processor. You don't really want old thermal paste when obviously when you're installing a new build. You know, just bad for the conductor, bad for everything. You always want to look at the bottom and make sure your gold prongs are all good and intact. There's no bends, there's no like dust or anything. Like you see a little bit of dust there. Make sure you blow it out. That's it. Now with the processor, same thing. You're going to flip it over, and there's going to be one spot that's different on the processor, which is this little spot right there, a little dot. So now that you know where that dot is, open up your little arm, find your dot here. Let's see. Now this is one I'm having issues with. I've never seen one like this. Let's see. Alright. There's a small square right there, so it's going to go like that. So all I'm doing right now is orienting it. There it is. So all the small little squares match because there's different shapes. So I'm looking here and I saw like that was a step up and that's a right side step. So I'm going like that and I'm putting it in. That is the correct orientation. So it sat right in there, so I know that that's correct. I kind of hold it down a little bit. I press this down and move it. The processor looks like it went directly in. There's no issues there. I'm confident that I did that correctly. So we're going to move on to the next step, which is remove this and this. So the next step to this build is we're going to be installing the power supply like we did in the other one, which goes right here. Where is it? It's right here. So the issues we were having last time is, as you can see here, you have your motherboard and your CPU, and then these are for your graphics cards, and that's for your peripherals. There's only one spot for a CPU, but that motherboard has 2 CPU slots. So this would not have been able to power that motherboard with an additional graphics card. So that is why we swapped the motherboards right there. So next, we're going to bring it like this. And I'm going to be installing the power supply. Now, to do it right, I'm going to do it like this and see if this is smarter. I'm going to actually install the cables because we saw what a tight squeeze it was earlier. So we're going to actually install the cables like this. So your motherboard has 2 powers, so you have one in there, and then the other one was there. So that's your motherboard connection. You're going to have a CPU connection, and they make this really easy for you. So don't ever be scared to do this kind of stuff by yourself. Like with small videos and small like tutorials, it's pretty foolproof. Like look, these are labeled. They say CPU on them. So you know to go right to this one, and you know to plug it in to the port that says 4x4 CPU. So I'm plugging the CPU one in. Same thing with the graphics card, which is going to be labeled PCIe, PCI Express in other words. So I plug in one of those. and then one peripheral SATA is all I'm going to need for power, and then plus the other one's pretty easily accessible, so I'll be able to do that as well. So let's see if this can get in here pretty easy, because that was kind of a tight squeeze that I saw, and like I said, I didn't really want to mess around with that after pre-install. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, that would have been a fucking bitch to do. And then we caught a cable in there, of course. Oh, come on, guy. Don't you you're too good for your home? There it is. All right. So now again, we're going to be putting this in with thumb screws because I want to be able to, like you just saw, take it out and put it back in because I'm a bad computer builder and make mistakes. Just a bad person in general, I guess. 1, 2, and 3. Alrighty, let's see if anyone said anything yet. Around 320. Stabilizer to keep it from sagging. Yeah, the new GPUs are fucking big, dude. Yeah, I just tell you know what's funny is that you say that. I told my friend the other day that they should make like good stabilizers, like you were just saying, for the graphics cards, because if you were to put a graphics card in here, the big ones lean out to here and they start sagging at the corner. So I feel like a good case should have like some sort of stabilization method there. So now what we're going to do here is wire up the actual hard drive. I mean, not the hard drive, sorry, the power supply. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to mount the cooling unit. That's going to be this because, again, that can't move now, and I don't want to wire stuff up and then have it be in the way of the cooling unit. This is, again, a hardware, and you want to do all your hardware first. So now that I have my RAM in there, I know which way to orient this. Like, there we go. It has to go like this, or it can't come like this, or like this, because these will get in the way of the RAM. Maybe. Yeah, it will. So you want to rotate it like that. And that'll clear your RAM, if you can even do that. We'll figure it out when we come there now. I'm going to put the bracket on the back, which is this. And it's like a sandwich plate. You take these screws off, and that goes to the back. The other ones are standoffs, and then these tighten it down. So you want all of them on the middle. You push them all in, slide it all in. These are adjustable. And you slide everything in for an AMD socket. This is an AMD processor. Now I go to the back here, and I'm going to find the holes that it goes into, which is right here. Okay, no, I forgot. This is an Intel processor. We switched out of the AMD. Let me grab the other socket for that. I have it right next door, luckily. I'm so glad I didn't put all this stuff downstairs and walk away with it. That would have been a nightmare to go get all of it. Where is it, though? Man. I hate when I put everything the fuck away. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I'm in the next room trying to pull apart a box, and I'm looking for the cable now. Or the bracket, sorry. I just had it. Let me guess. I bet it's over here. So I remember I just had it a second ago, and it looked like this. But it was for the Intel socket. I remember just trying it on there and then putting it down somewhere. Let's see. So basically I'm trying to find a plate that fits right in the back of that and that this can snap into. As far as being an AM socket, this will snap into that. or it won't. And I have to install the Kraken one that's built for this. So he had something set on this, so this has to be one of them. Let me see if the bolt pattern works. No. So he had this one cooled a different way. Alright, so we're going to get rid of the cooler and do something different with the stock PC cooler, because for some reason both of these are Intel sockets, and I'm not able to get a backplate on there. But that's an easy fix. Alright, so next what we're going to be doing is just powering up the power supply and running everything into this and making sure motherboard, everything turns on real quick. So this right here is my PCIe, so that's going to go to graphics card when we plug one in eventually, so that one gets set aside for now. We have our motherboard connection here, our PC, our data, and then we have our CPU right here. So I'm going to stand the computer up to route it better, because I don't want her cables just dragged across the front of her computer, because that looks like shit. I have zip ties and everything set aside. These are the ones that are going to be routed to the back and up. So I'm going to zip tie them together cleanly and start pulling them through the back gate right here. It's kind of hard to route like this over myself, but bear with me. You're a Ryzen builder, you've never done Intel? Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, but those happen to be Ryzen fucking liquid coolers, of course, right? The custom loop that I built for the guy was for this computer, and then he gave it to me, and that other one. So I'll be building another computer after this too, I guess, with those other parts, and giving that one to someone else too. So I'm trying to make these all flat and look nice for her, because I think part of like a good computer's presentation, like I hate it when you get this shit and it's all fucked up and dirty. You're gonna have to clean it up a little bit. Excuse me. I knew I forgot a tool. The only thing I really forgot was flush cuts, which cut these zip ties off flushly so you don't cut yourself or something, which I'll go grab right now. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I apologize. Be back in 1 second with the tool. Right here. These are called flush cuts. They're really small and they're able to get you a flush cut against your zip ties. I'm pretty anal about like electrical components because I'm an electrician by trade, and like stuff won't pass inspection if it doesn't look pretty. As stupid as that sounds, especially on industrial buildings and skyscrapers and things like that, the inspectors are just assholes. So we're going to be pushing this through. I don't want to catch on top of that because then it'll be caught inside there. So I want to go over the top, and also these are not routed the same place, so I want to be very careful here to not over or go under anything that I'm going to have to switch around later. So now that that's like that, I'm going to slide them through right here where my fingers are and get everything down there carefully. When I do that, I'll carefully pull the slack through, and then see what's the best way of routing this to look clean. So now that I have it inside the back there, I look at the other two things I need to route. One is going to be SATA power, which could probably be stashed somewhere around here for anything that requires it. And then the other one's going to be the graphics card, which goes right here. So I'll probably end up like folding the loop back and forth and stashing it somewhere back here so you can't see any of it. Am I going to do the next one for you? Do you need a computer too? You're on PS5? I don't give a shit. I promised a lot of the components to Bryn already because she's helping so much out with the stream. To be really honest. But any other components I have after that, I'm doing another build for somebody else tomorrow too. One of my friends, Brian. So, okay, I'm trying to think of what I'm doing at this point. So we have everything in. We have the power routed. I'm going to route the CPU that I just pushed through up to the top here. And all I'm doing is taking that one wire, pulling it through, coming out the top right here where the CPU accepts it. And this gives you power to your processor, guys. There's one. There's two. Let's jam it through. There it is. And now I'm going to be pulling it through and folding it over and plugging it in here. It goes this way. I'm going to flip this around. It's kind of hard for me to see, guys. Sorry. You're going to be blind for a second. I'm sorry I don't have a cameraman or something right here, but it is what it is, guys. I'm trying my best. If you guys have questions, let me know, and I'll pull my camera off, and I'll go over things and try my best to, help and answer. Oh my gosh. Sometimes shit's hard and you have to unplug one to plug the other one in, etc. Oh, that's why. There's a clip in the back of that one. There it goes. Okay. Alrighty. So the power, that's the CPU, okay? Next, the only other power you really need is for your motherboard, okay? That's going to go plugged in right here. And this is your 24 connector. 24 pin connector is what it's called. So I'm trying to give her sharp bends and nice like wire dynamics like that. So you don't really see too much on this side. And then on the back, I'm going to be zip tying it all together, routing everything cleanly, and just making sure, it looks good when it's ready to go to her. I'm going to be pulling this liquid cooler out. So I'll do that in a second. But I'll continue just routing everything and making sure the computer turns on at this point. So right now, I'm going to be working on this fan. All this fan has is just a 3-pin connector, and this is an exhaust. So I'm looking for any fan connector to plug it into right here and here. But the only problem is I don't like how much cable is here. I think that's ugly. So I'll try to find a better way to route that and everything else while I go. So those are the kind of tricks that you learn when you're doing PC building. Excuse me. Wow, that was the first time I've done that in like 20 fucking years. I guess I'm hitting puberty again. So right now, all I'm basically doing here is unfucking wires and cleanly zip tying stuff. So when we, like I said, give the case to her, it looks good. I can't stand when shit looks like crap. Especially like routing wires and electrical stuff. Now go ahead and make a comment. You don't need to be on any type of behavior. Let's see the worst. I need to be on good behavior here. Everyone knows that. Look at the fucking about me. It says, you will be made fun of. This is not a safe spot for anybody, including me. especially me. Like, you guys roast the shit out of me, please. I know I got no hair. Alright, so the back part is pretty secured. I like the way that these cables look. I'm going to use my flush cuts that I lost. There they are. And cut these zip ties back. I'll show you guys in a second when I'm done routing everything. We'll do a 360 on the computer. So that was those two. Now I'm looking at these fans here. I'm going to end up using the fans on these. But like I said, I'm going to pull that out. So all that's basically left to wire at this point is this, which is your main panel for your computer. They all do different things. Like this one, for example, is your HD audio cable. And I know for a fact that it goes on the bottom of the motherboard because that's where all of them go all the time. Daddy P. Yeah. I am a daddy, though, so that's not a bad thing. You know, I got kids. This is a SATA power, and then these are the 3 fans that are running power right now. So I'm going to pull those aside because I feel like I can route those better, too. And like I said, I want to route everything correctly. I'm going to route those up to the top here, from here up to the top, just so she and no one else can see them from the front of the computer. Makes sense, right? So there we go, there we go. And then we have all of this stuff I'm going to zip tie together too and run it along the top. Alrighty, so we have one more zip tie. Where are they? I know I have like 20 of them set aside. Here it is. Alright, so now I'm going to flush cut all those zip ties. I don't like to go back and flush cut after because I always like fucking end up missing 1 or 2 of the zip ties that I should have cut. So whenever I do a run, I like to just cut those and be done with it, you know? So that's going to be tucked back here. And then the SATA cable now for the power. Now that I know where the SATA cable is, which is this one right here, the one that's all flat, this one. What this does is it brings power to alternate devices. Normally on newer computers you won't need it because your hard drives are NVMe's and they're powered by rail, which means they're connected directly to your motherboard. But we are going to need this for the front panel display. So same thing, I'm going to route it over the top of this and go with these cables again. And I'll end up zip tying them together. And I'm going to drop this back here, feed it, feed it, feed it, and get rid of all the slack. So there's all the slack for that too. Now I have Velcro straps actually that are really nice, so we could be using some of those too, but I'll use these zip ties for now because I have 4 left. And the reason, obviously, I like the Velcro straps is the same reason why I like those button screws and the thumb screws. Because you could just take them off and put them on, and you're obviously not stuck with the configuration that you have. This same thing, though. See? I'll do the same thing now. Otherwise, I would have had to do a bunch more zip ties. I don't want to do that. So all of them are going back there. My graphics card's one's going to pop out right here. And again, that's just to make it so all of the cables are uniform and running out the same exact place. What are you? Hi, there you go. Now, when I pull this out, I'll clean all this up, so I'm not going to even bother right now. My SATA comes up here to the back. And that can plug into it here. I'm plugging in the main port connector to the SATA right now. And that was that power that I brought back there where I said that you don't normally have in newer computers because the devices are dead. Or, I mean, the devices are powered by the motherboard directly. This is not a case with this one. The power button and the reset button, stuff like that, are powered by SATA. So all I'm doing is running that SATA back here to power up her display. I mean, her power switch and all that, like I said. Okay, almost done back here, guys. Sorry. I know you can't see in the back of the computer. I wish I had someone here helping record and stuff, but I'm doing the best I can, guys. If you have questions and want to see like the backside or something, I'll pick it up and I'll move it But like I said, I will do that at the end anyways and give you guys a front and back view of how everything's routed and how I cleaned up cables. Okay, there's the zip ties for that, and we're flush cutting them now. Alrighty, so there's that. Now the PCIe Express cable is going to be coming out right here, and this is for your graphics card, okay? When you get a graphics card, all you're going to do is put it into the top slot and plug this into it. That's it. There's no other step involved, and your computer will be completely done. I'm going to be doing the front bus now. There's only like a couple more things to plug in, and it's 100% done. So, let's see here. You have your HD audio for your front panel, which is that one I showed you. You have this right here, which is USB, and it's going to come out and get plugged in. Well, let's do HD audio first, since I told you already. This is an HD audio plug. I'll show it to you guys closely. And you can see how one of the pins are missing from under there. Your HD audio is always going to be on the bottom, and you can tell because it's right here. The pin right there is missing from the second one in, and it's connected, same thing here, it's missing from the second one in. So I'm going to route it, not down here because you'll be able to see it, but over the top again like this, then down to the bottom, and out underneath here. The reason being I can bend it up very easily to where it goes, plug it into the motherboard. There we go. Seems like I can tighten that screw a little. What the hell? I missed a screw right here. I don't know why I was moving so much. I was like, what the fuck is that? There we go. Alright. So we have the HD audio plugged in now, and you just pull the cable back a little bit, and like I said, I'll be routing it up here. This is a Velcro strap, and these are the best things to use, like I said, because you can just reuse them over and over and over again. So that's exactly what I'll do. So this is going to be a fan. I know there's one more thing that goes over there, so before I strap it up, actually all of this goes over there. So all of this gets over here, so I'm going to strap it together like this and pull it to the top so whoever gets the computer doesn't see the ugly wiring. The whole point of like a good looking computer is somebody takes their time with wiring, in my opinion, like this. Like, I don't want an ugly computer. I don't know who would. I don't know, like, I think routing is very important. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now we have a USB thing that comes out the same exact place. It's going to come out this here. The USB, though, is actually going to be plugged in right here. Right there. And again, you can tell because the bottom right pin is missing, and this one has the bottom right pin filled in. So I'll be sticking it through this hole instead. I don't want to come here. Oh yeah, who cares? That actually looks a lot better, because then both of them are coming out the same spot. Alright. So then I look at the bottom, it's going to be bottom right. There's bottom right. Plugged in, that's it. So now the USB and the HD audio are both done and plugged in completely. We're going to be moving on now. Oh shit, what's up, Brian? How you doing, bud? I didn't even see you doing that. Start building yours. You're going to bring the video cards this week? Got you, bud. Say no more. So there's that. That's plugged in now. Where's the first one? This is going to be the USB 2.0 for the USB 3.0, sorry. And it's going to come out through here, and it gets plugged in right here. So I'm going to turn it around like that, stick it in, and I'm actually not going to do it right there. I'm going to go here. I think it'll look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to pick this up a little bit, go underneath. Ow, stab myself, because why not? Do that and get her in. Yeah, I think that looks a lot cleaner. So that's where I'm going to leave that like that. Next I have the front panel for the connector, and I think that's it. Then I plug the fans in, and that's it. And the computer's built. So let's see what we can do here now. The front panel connection is going to be down here. Yes, it'll say CPU front panel. So again, I'll be running wires down there. Give me 1 second to route all this correctly. Let me see here. This is going to be coming out, I believe, right here. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to plug these in. Then I'm going to be pulling the slack back. I'm going to lay the computer down for a second so I can do my work. Just letting you guys know what's going on. I'm going to be plugging in the CPU front panel. And this is the part that's hard. So after I'm done doing it, I'm going to explain it while I'm going on, kind of far away. I'll bring my camera closer and explain it better in depth when you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. So I need to bring the light over here so I can see what I'm doing, because this is intricate work. So HE LED is going to be the first one that you plug in. And all of these are labeled different, and there's a plus and minus to each one. So the HE LED is the first one that goes in, and it says to get the plus on one side and the minus on the other. So your plus is going to be a positive, and your minus is normally your black and everything. So that was the HDD LED. So that's plugged in. Now we have the reset, it says. I'm going to have to actually get the schematic on this one. This motherboard is a little bit different than another one I've seen, but I do have the stuff right here, and I'm just looking up the front panel. The front panel connector is going to be different pretty much on every single computer a little bit. So sensor panel is going to be number 10. Number 10 is going to be 120. There it is. Perfect. So here, I'll show you guys the schematic. So this is the schematic. There's extra pins and stuff like that that aren't normally there. So that's why I pulled my schematic out. And there's only about 6 pins to plug in. So in about 3 seconds, I'll plug them in and show you guys what I did here. Here's my Velcro for you. Okay, so the first one, this is like that, is going to be the HE LED, then the reset. Okay, so the HE LED is plugged in correctly. Next is going to be the reset switch. So the reset switch gets plugged in. Done. Next, that's 120. Huh. Okay, so then it says the reset, we're going to miss one, and then the power LED plus and minus. Alright, and miss one? Let's see here. This is really, I've never seen one like this. Let me see here. like that. Power LED, power switch. HELD reset, power LED. So power switch, power LED. So where's the power LED now? Plus and minus. Okay. Plus minus, and the power switch is the last one. There's going to be plus over there. Just like that. Okay, so the front panel's all done. Everything's pretty much done on the computer now, actually. The only thing left to do is plug the fans in. The case fans. And then we can just test it, turn it on. There's no processor cooler, so because clearly this, like I told you earlier, the cooler that is for this is for an Intel machine. So I'm going to take this out, and I'll eventually put a cooler on before I ship it. But as it sits right now, all I'm doing is routing everything, and I'm going to be plugging these fans in, just so nothing fucking blows. So these fans get pulled out. Let me see here. If I route it like that, you can't see shit. If I route it down there, you can't see anything. Let's just test it though. So I'm looking for fan connectors, which look like that. Here, let me lay this back down again. So there's two there, and two there. So the first one I want to do is going to be, I'm going to like probably tuck the wire here and mount it that way, and then just get one in here. This is just testing to see if the system turns on and everything. And then, like I said, I'll be getting that processor cooler before I ship it, because I don't want to ship it without one of those. CPU fan. And then there should be one more fan. Where is this? There's one. Come on, guy, go in. Are you too good for your home? We can't see. Let's see here. Ah, that's why. Okay, that should just plug right in. I don't know why it's not. You hate me? Computer? Alright, so I'm going to plug the computer in now and see if we turn on. Let's see here. Hopefully we don't blow my fucking house right now. I might have too much shit plugged in. Let me see. So I think I'm done tool-wise here. I'm going to route the wires a little bit better, obviously, but I'm just plugging everything in right now. Before you do a final routing on your PC, you're still lurking? Your laundry's almost done. You're allowed to play games. You don't have to sit here and watch this if you don't want to. Not a big deal. Oh, you bitch. She just wants me to see. She wants me to see me break her computer. Alrighty, so we're plugged in now. Turned off. Plugged in. Turned on. Let's see what kind of power stuff we see here. So the computer turned on. That's good. It's always a good sign, right? Power button. Do you work? Absolutely. So you don't have a cooler or anything plugged in, so nothing's starting to spin yet. But you have power to everything and everything's working. All we need to do is just, like I said, plug everything in. Your other stuffs, I think maybe to this. Let's see here. Where's your BIOS power setting? Get in, bitch. There we go. So we're going to turn it off now, and then we're pretty much done. Like I said, I'm going to route all the wires, take this out, and then tomorrow I'll be putting a CPU cooler in, and your computer's done. All that's left to do is put that little hard drive in and a graphics card. I don't know what you want to do here. You want to wait a little bit? It looks like my friend Brian might be coming down in about a week or so. And when he does, he said he has graphics cards that he'll sell for me to me very, very cheap. And I'm building him a computer and giving him another parts for that, so he's kind of half trading me for that as well. So we might be able to talk him into giving me one for you for cheap. So you might want to wait for that. Might be your best option here. What the hell are you? What are you even? Alright, let's put the processor away. Alright guys, so this concludes the computer streaming stuff. It'll be done by the end of the week, don't worry. This concludes the streaming part of the computer. I'm going to turn off the stream for a little bit. I'm going to clean everything up, get my room in order, and then I'm going to turn the stream on to game. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all of you.